All right, Jay, here's another birthday blowout. I didn't realize that this was $100 off. How did I miss that one, Jay?
I don't know.
I think I am not, you know, really, I kind of just, what's wrong with me today?
But I will tell you this right now. Anything in Lapis that we've had during this event in the last day and a half has completely sold out. We don't have any Lapis. So Lapis is, people are realizing the value of Lapis, and they're realizing how hot Lapis is right now. So we've got two of these pieces. I love both of these. I really love the layered look on this other piece. But if you look at the grade of Lapis, and that's the key thing here. This is top grade Lapis, okay? And Lapis is rarer than turquoise. It's only really comes from one area in the whole world. It comes from the Hindu Kush region of Afghanistan. This is where that the majority of the Lapis that you see, the fine jewelry, this is where the rough stock comes from, the rough material originated in, where they're mining it much now like they have been for 5,000 years. Nothing's really changed too much in the way that they harvest, they mine this. It's all done by hand, it's all pick and shovel. Pry bar, there's no power grid. Running water in these areas that where the Lapis comes from is that they might have a stream, is why they would have running water. But look, the thing with this is look at the grade of the Lapis. Look at the depth of the color of the blue. This is all natural. There's no enhancement to it. There's no dye process to it. This is exactly how we go out and we pick the Lapis. We get it from the miners, we get the mine run, and then I individually hand select all of the Lapis Rough. We go piece by piece and hand select every single piece of Lapis Rough material.
Look at the size of that, Jay.
Yeah, it's very, you know, and that's another thing too, is you're seeing right there, that's a friend of mine, that's Z, and he actually does what they call yard art or rock. It's very unusual for you to see a piece of Lapis that size, and the reason is this: they bring it down on horseback or muleback, or they hand carry it in backpacks. So, you know, you don't really see a lot of big pieces. When you saw the white trunk there, that's pretty much the standard size of the piece of Lapis. Because they have no way to pack that in the panniers. It's too heavy for the horse. It's too heavy for the mule. So,
to be able to get it out.
Yeah, the only other way that they do it is they'll actually put like a stretcher, a sling, and then they'll put those big pieces in between it. But that's why virtually it's impossible to see a piece of Lapis that size.
And we're pretty much, I mean, we're going to scoot along because there's 18 left. So this is pretty much completely gone. It is the lowest price. Thank you for your orders. 18 inches in the length, as you can see on the screen. It does have the 2 3/4 inch extender. That is going to be completely sold.